This is Kanisha Grayson. I'm the founder and CEO of The Art of Applying, and we're here today with one of our clients to tell her story, her encouragement and advice for other applicants, and share her great news. We are using the name Kaitlyn for her just to protect her privacy, and I'm so excited. So Kaitlyn, hello.
Hi, Kanisha.
I would just first like to start off with you sharing with us, what are we celebrating today?
Yes. Well, I feel, somewhat conflicted because it's such an interesting time right now. And I also want to honor that this going to school is an opportunity. And I'm so excited for folks who want to achieve that opportunity of going back to school. So I'm really excited that I will be getting my MBA in the fall. I'll be going to Dartmouth Tech School of Business. And I'm really excited about it.
I'm really excited for you too. And just for everybody listening, in case you're listening to this recording 3 years from now and you're just like, what's interesting?
Oh.
No worries at all. Is right now, Kaitlyn and I are both at our respective homes because we're currently right in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. So that's what Kaitlyn's referring to. And it is such an interesting time. An interesting time to be applying to graduate school, an interesting time to be in graduate school and headed to graduate school. So I appreciate you acknowledging that, Kaitlyn. Kaitlyn, I know one of the things that is most exciting and interesting to people listening would be your stats. They already know your great news, but they want to know, okay, well, where all did she apply? Where did she, what she study in college? What kind of school did she go to? What's her GPA, her test score? As much as you can share, as much and as specific as you feel comfortable sharing, let the people listening know kind of what your profile was so that they can know just kind of what kind of applicant you were.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll just kind of ramble and you let me know what else I've missed. I'm from Texas. I went to a large Texas University and graduated in 2014. And at that time, I joined Teach for America and taught for 4 years. I was a middle school teacher for 4 years in the Bronx, New York. So I was a teacher. And then I taught for a year in prison. And so in my 6th year, so this past year of being in the workforce, I had transitioned to doing fundraising for an education nonprofit. So I was in my 6th year, was kind of ready to go back to school. And I'm interested in corporate social responsibility, so specifically fair chance hiring, which means the hiring of formerly incarcerated folks at private sector firms. And I knew after conversing with folks, I knew I needed an MBA to do that. I had not wanted to necessarily get an MBA before a year and a half ago, but to realize this dream, I knew I needed that. So so I was 6 years out of school when I started the application, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I found The Art of Applying, I think through like a Facebook ad for, hey, listen to Kanisha talk about like these, 6 steps for, applying to business school or something like that. And I immediately was like so drawn to you, Kanisha, and your leadership. And I had my breakthrough call. And so I think a year ago today, or like not today, but March-ish, I had my breakthrough call and was like, yes, I absolutely need help with this. And I've just been like really thrilled about this. So I in undergrad, I had 2 liberal arts majors, and I graduated with a 3.8 GPA. And then through teaching, I got a master's in teaching. And so I had a 4.0 out of 4.0 there. And so, those were kind of my like GPAs, but I still didn't quite understand where my background in education and nonprofit and teaching would land me in the MBA application world. So upon like consulting with my consultant through The Art of Applying and Kanisha, I decided to apply to 6 schools through the Consortium for Graduate Management, and another MBA program at Stanford. So I was rejected with no interview from Stanford and Yale. Yale was one of my consortium schools, and the other 5 were USC, Cornell, Berkeley, Dartmouth, and NYU. And so I was accepted to USC Marshall. I don't believe I received a scholarship from them. I'm not exactly sure. I checked like their, email notifications. But at that time I also had some other offers, so I kind of didn't investigate further. I was accepted to Cornell Johnson, I think $15K per year.
Awesome.
And then Dartmouth Tuck, which is where I'm going, at a total of $60K across the 2 years, so $30K a year. And then Berkeley Haas with a $140K scholarship over the 2 years. And then at this time, I decided to withdraw my application from NYU, which was also in the consortium, because I was privileged enough to get into my 2 top schools, which were Berkeley Haas and Dartmouth Tuck. Okay, what have I missed, Kanisha?
That was fantastic.
Okay.
That was fantastic. I'm so distracted by the money. And of course, because you're our client, Kaitlyn, that we really encourage our clients to negotiate with the schools and ask for more. So have you shown the Haas offer to Tuck? And if so, what did they say?
So great question. Yes. I was immediately torn between my top 2 schools, which were Berkeley Haas and Dartmouth Tuck. To be honest, my gut knew where I wanted to go, but unfortunately that school didn't give me as much, which was Tuck. And so I took my offer letter from Berkeley Haas and I shared it with the Dartmouth Tuck admissions team. And I, used your advice about how to negotiate for more financial aid. And I followed up with it a few times, but I wasn't successful in getting any more aid. And their reasoning was because they have over allocated their financial aid for the first round, which is the one that I applied in, round 1. So I did not, unfortunately, get any more aid from them. And so choosing to forego that tuition at Berkeley Haas was a very difficult decision. But in the end, I just had to trust my gut. And I think that my gut will thank me.
Awesome. Yeah. And I would just like to say they haven't given you any more yet, because just as you know, our other client, and I will use her real name because she already has a video out. Our other client, Carrie, as you know, didn't get any, and then we helped her, and I won't say the amount, but she was able to get more. So, and I think once she had already committed. So I feel confident that there is a possibility of you still getting some more. So
well, let's hope so.
Yeah, I know you 2 are already in touch, which is great. Awesome. So I would love to hear kind of what wasn't working, what was giving you problems, what did you really want our help with?
Yes.
Before you were in the program.
Yes. So I just felt completely lost. I knew nothing about MBA programs. I knew nothing about what to apply to. I had a friend who was interested in the consortium. And so I kind of knew about it, but it just was completely foreign to me. I had taken the GRE once in 2017 and did not do well on it and knew I needed to take it again. So when I contacted the Art of Applying, I had already taken it again. So this was last year in 2019. And I think, again, my scores were nowhere on par with any of the scores I was seeing on the websites of these MBA programs. And so I came to the Art of Applying kind of nervous of, hey, I don't know how to navigate the MBA process, and my GRE scores are not stellar. I maybe just don't test well, but I'm a really hard worker. So those were kind of the things that I was nervous about, and I felt that the Art of Applying could help me with, and they absolutely did.
Awesome. And so some stats that I don't think you said, but just in case.
Yes.
Is maybe your cultural background and then your GRE scores.
Yes. Okay. So when I don't remember, when I took it in 2017, they were mid 150s. And then I took it 3 or 4 times this past calendar year in 2019. So I took it multiple times to try to get my score up. I ended up with a 158 or a 158 and a 159. I can't tell you which one was verbal and which one was quant.
Yeah, we can look it up.
Yeah, 158 and 159. And those were not even the minimum scores I was reaching for. But by that time, it was you know what, I think I need to just pour my energy into my essays and the rest of my application, and that these numbers just I tried my best, tried multiple times. They just
Yeah.
cannot define me. Yeah. So there's that.
Understood. So that's super interesting, Kaitlyn. That means that in your assessment call with me, I gave you a minimum test score based on your background and your target schools to aim for.
Yes.
And even though you didn't even hit your minimum score, you got into Haas with a $140,000 scholarship.
Yes.
Awesome. So that's great. That's great news. We always do want you guys to hit your minimum score, but I love when people, we have clients who, like you, a few every year, who just get these runaway results even without hitting their minimum score. And yeah, I really like to tell people that you're more than a test score. And I think you're a really great example of that. And then your ethnicity, cultural background, whatever you want to share.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier, I'm from Texas, from the South. I am multiracial, and so my mom was born and raised in Hong Kong, and my father was a good old boy from small town Texas. And so that very much influences my personal and professional life, and that is something that I also brought to light in my applications of, hey, I am multiracial. This informs like my personal and professional work. And I really appreciate that at the Art of Applying, I felt that was encouraged. It was like, hey, give a full picture of who you are and where you come from and what you have to offer your classmates or your future classmates. Yeah.
Excellent. And so now let's talk about your breakthrough call.
Yes.
What do you think it would be like? And then what was it actually like?
Well, I think for the breakthrough call, I was pretty much invested. I was like, if this person gives me the information I'm looking for, then I'm going to say yes. And I also was expecting it to be like very sales pitchy. I didn't really know what to expect. But it was more so my breakthrough coach just like really listened to me and asked me like very specific questions of like, what are you looking to do? Why do you want to do it? Why now? And will this be a good fit? And so I really appreciated that. And he's just like a wonderful human. And then at the end of the breakthrough call, basically repeated back to me all of the things that I had said. And I think like rarely do we ever have the opportunity to do that with someone, where we basically put out our vulnerable hopes and dreams, and then someone repeats it back and says, not only that, but we'd like to like help you get there. So yeah, it was like, yeah, I think it's perfectly named breakthrough, because I felt like after that call, I was like, okay, I have help. I can maybe do this. And someone else thinks that I am capable of achieving this.
That's right. Awesome. And so, at the end of the breakthrough call, if we are 100% confident we can help you, we talk to you about the tuition and we invite you to work with us and get started immediately. Talk to us about what it felt like to make such an investment in yourself and your application process.
So, I've never done anything like this before. And I feel very grateful that I have been in the position where I decided to make this like monetary investment in myself. And to be honest, I don't think I would have, I don't even know if I would have had the confidence to actually apply had I not joined the Art of Applying. And I'm like, because I didn't think, I was like, oh, I'm like a teacher. I don't really know how to navigate this process. I don't know how to go about talking about my story and my past, my present, and my future, or what I hope to be my future. And so it is like 1,000% worth the monetary investment. And I heard, when I was going through the process of deciding on if I wanted to do this or not, I listened to a call like this for someone who was also a former teacher who got into Wharton. And I just was like, wow, you know what? If she can do it, I can at least apply. So I'm like hopeful that anyone listening to this call, even if you come from an untraditional background in your career, I think that may even work to your advantage, because you are more of like a diamond in the rough. Yeah, did I answer your question?
You sure did. So let's talk about polishing that diamond, and talk to us about, what you really wanted our help with, and then what that help looked like for you.
Yeah. So, okay. So I mentioned that I came kind of insecure about my GRE scores. And I was like, determined to take it. I took it multiple times, still wasn't reaching my minimum. And so throughout the process, you all at the Art of Applying, and including my amazing consultant, just encouraged me to focus on my essays and telling my story. I have been like very fortunate to be able to serve the populations that I care about, which has been middle school students in the Bronx, and then folks who've been incarcerated. And so I did not even know how to talk about, okay, here's where I've been, here's where I am right now, and here's where I would like to be, and here's why I need the MBA to do that. I wasn't clear on how to articulate all those things succinctly and compellingly. And that's what I worked like back and forth with my consultant with. And she just was like so amazing. I think that something I really appreciate about the Art of Applying is, hey, submit a first draft and it can be just the worst. It's okay. You just get some words down and submit it, and have someone give you some feedback of, okay, let me ask you some questions about what you think of what you're trying to say here. And then just like helped me refine and, let's say, like polish this diamond, I guess. Mm-hmm. I definitely want to say though that my consultant and the folks at the Art of Applying don't do anything for you. Like they don't like reach out to you to tell you, hey, this deadline's coming up, like for this school. No, it's not that. They, like, the Art of Applying acts as like this incredible wealth of resources, and it's up to you as the client to go get what you need and to sort through the like wealth of resources and find what it is that is going to be most helpful for you.
Awesome. And one of the resources that I think is unique to the Art of Applying, and I think a lot of our resources are, but two in particular, is the fact that our clients are a community. You're not just working in isolation with a consultant. You actually know who the other clients are and can interact with them. Mm-hmm. And secondly would be our in-house mindset coaches. So I would love for you to talk about your experience interacting with other clients and how that was, what you contributed, what you gained, and then also just what is a mindset coach to your understanding, and how did they help you?
Oh, yes. I love this. Okay. I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about the mindset coaching calls. And I'm also going to talk about the, Kenesha, what are the like group?
The monthly mindset coaching calls. Or okay. Is that what you mean? Or you mean just the group calls with me, or which ones?
The group calls with, yeah, I think they're the group mindset calls.
Yeah. So the group mindset calls, and then the one-on-one mindset calls.
Got it. Okay. So the one-on-one mindset calls, I found so helpful. First of all, the person that I was connecting with, my mindset coach, is just like a fascinating human. She, interestingly enough, also went to Wharton and is kind of now living a very like non-business traditional lifestyle. And so she just made herself so like vulnerable and upfront, was like, hey, you know what? I've been through this business school application process. Here's where I am now. Whatever happens is what's meant to be. And she just was able to like share her story first. And then that just opened the door to me to also being vulnerable. And so she just asked me a lot of questions of like last year when I was, taking supplementary courses to also like help my application my competitiveness. So I was taking supplemental courses. I had a new full-time job. I was studying for and retaking the GRE, and was actually going through the actual application process. I just felt so stressed. I felt like I had no time. And so those one-on-one mindset calls, I think, were so helpful in just like helping me talk through it. And I also go to therapy every week. And the mindset calls, I think, were an excellent like supplement to that, because it was specific to the application process, and we also go through it like all of us do. So about the community part, the group mindset calls were so helpful. And I say that because you're with other folks who are going through the same process. And I think just hearing like other folks struggle with the same things you do, I don't know if it's like that phrase, misery loves company, but it's just like, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not doing this alone. This is like very common. And B, on those group mindset calls, there's like a mindset coach who will coach the other folks, and you like one-on-one, and you just listen. And like listening to someone else being coached is incredibly helpful. And sometimes I would just hop on and I wouldn't even speak at all. But just witnessing and listening to someone else being coached through the process and like what they're going through and what their stressors are and like ways to cope was just incredibly helpful.
Yes, I love that. And I'd also just, now that there's lots of clients still dealing with financial aid negotiations, or even just figuring out is school starting virtually or real, I'd love to just hear about how you interact like with clients you just met in the program and what that's like, or even former clients of ours.
Yes. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. I feel very grateful that once I decided to move forward with Tuck, not even once I decided, but when I was in the process of applying before I had found out that I had gotten in, and then once I had gotten in but hadn't confirmed yet, I was reaching out to folks at Tuck, folks who I had met at their diversity weekend, and folks through the art of applying. And so when I was there for DivCo, which is Tuck's diversity weekend, I was like connecting with different people, and I started like talking with someone named Carrie. And then later on, we found out that we had both like utilized this resource of the art of applying. And so she and I are like texting. And it is just such a strange time navigating, this COVID-19 situation. And if are we going to be remote in the fall? I have no idea. Nobody knows. And I'm like prepared. I'm trying to like mentally prepare myself and connecting with current first year Tuckies about that, because they're remote right now in their first and second year. And so connecting with them about it has been really helpful. So yeah, I think the art of applying has definitely helped me build a network at these schools.
Mm-hmm. And Kaitlyn, I'm pretty sure it was you who posted in the wins thread your first few rejections and feeling.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
Yeah. So talk to us about what you posted and why you posted it and why you think it may have been helpful for other people.
Definitely. So the first result I got from this whole process was a rejection. From Stanford, and I felt it very important to post about that because we were all going through this process, and also this was round one, so it wasn't like anyone else had really shared like results. I think maybe one or two other people had shared about their like policy school results.
Mm-hmm.
So I posted that. I was like, hey, you know what? We put out these applications and we're going to get some rejections. And so I was like, I got my first rejection today, but I'm feeling good and I'm feeling optimistic. Yeah. I mean, of course, it's like there's disappointment around like any kind of rejection, but I think that's the whole point is like this process is, hey, put yourself out there. That's the win. Putting yourself out there. If you get into no schools, but you put yourself out there and you put in like all of the effort and the best application you could, like that's the win.
That's exactly right. And I was so impressed when you posted that and really appreciated that you did, because it really set the standard. I think the culture in the group of like, you don't have to hide if things are not going perfectly. In fact, let us be there to cheer you on and support you, and also just know that you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I really appreciated you doing that. I'd love to just hear what encouragement or advice you would give to other people who are thinking, well, maybe this worked out for this teacher and maybe that one other teacher whose video, Kaitlyn watched, but like, I don't know if this can work for me. I'm too much of a wild card or too non-traditional. Or like, she's just one of the people who won. What about the people who it didn't work for? Just what is your encouragement and advice for somebody who might feel like, I really relate to her, but I don't know if this is going to work for me?
Oh man, I was thinking the same thing when I was listening to these recordings of other success stories. Also, it's so strange to think that I'm like a quote success story. Oh man, think about it this way. I was like, okay, let's say I go through the application process on my own and I don't get the results I'm looking for. I'm going to think, wow, I should have done what I thought, which was like ask for help. And I have a problem asking for help. And I feel as if me investing in myself was me saying yes to asking for help. Another thing is when I was listening to the recording of another like success story from last year, she said, when I invested in hiring, or when I invested in signing up for the Art of Applying and putting forth that monetary investment, she was like, I'm thinking of this as I'm paying, this is how I'm paying for grad school. And I definitely feel that way. I feel very fortunate that I was able to get scholarships. I don't know if that happens for everyone. So just the ROI of making this monetary investment for me has definitely paid off. But yeah, I say you just have to say yes. You have to decide on if it's right for you. And if you are going to go through that application process alone, and if you get rejected, are you going to feel like, oh man, I should have asked for professional help? And there's always the next year.
There's always next year. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Kaitlyn. We've loved you from the day we met you. So I just, none of your results so far have been surprising to me. None of your positive results. And, I get very upset at the negative results. But yeah, I'm just very, very excited for you. And I think you're just going to have, an amazing time at Tuck. It's going to be different. But different does not mean necessarily mean a bad thing. I think this is a great, disruption to our entire global culture and economy. And that means that those of you going to these top schools, the future leaders of the world, you are poised to really have an opportunity to shine during this kind of unprecedented time. And I really mean that.
Yeah, thanks, Kanisha.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thanks so much for sharing your story. And I know it's going to help and inspire and encourage a lot of people. Thank you, Kaitlyn.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our video. For more videos just like this, make sure you click subscribe. And if you want to work with us on your graduate school applications, visit us at theartofapplying.com or click on the link below in the description.